Across LC with your hosts, Jeff Alsman and Cody Zitman.
And welcome to another edition of the A2Z Across LC podcast. I'm Jeff Alsman, Cody Zitman is here. We've got another, what we hope is going to be a great show for you today. And with Cody, we are getting into the end of April, getting ready to hit May. Things are starting to blossom and grow. It's Earth Week here on, no, that was last week. Last time was Earth Week. Wellness Week. I had the wrong week for a minute.
We got a lot of events going on.
We really do. They start running together after a while, don't they? But it is Wellness Week. We're going to talk about mental health on our program. We're also talking, though, about our garden show that's coming up here soon, the Lewis and Clark Garden Club, because I don't know about your house, but I planted grass seed and it's really starting to take off now. It's like this. Anything that hasn't been blown away or flooded out in the last week and a half is really starting to get green.
You know, I said to Ethan, concrete the world.
You don't mean that.
I don't, Kate. I don't mean that.
You don't mean that. No. So we've got lots of neat things coming up in the program. Let's take a real quick look at some of the events that are right around the corner here on the campus. One of the ones that I wanted to mention is the State of Trailblazer Nation, which is going to be on May 6th. That's when our president, Dr. Traska, gets a chance to share with students, faculty, staff, members of the community, anyone who wants to come and be a part of that. Basically, what has transpired over the past year, what the future looks like, what the strategic plan is, some of the accomplishments and goals that are still set, as well as some of the headway that we've made in those areas. The leaders of each one of our key directions will also be able to give a report. So anybody who's interested in finding out either what's going on or what the future looks like at Lewis and Clark is welcome to come to that event on the 6th. It starts at 4:30 in the auditorium. So we wanted to put that out there. And I know you're part of that, although
I'll be in Texas.
You'll be in Texas.
Texas.
We'll tell folks why before we leave today. It's related to our tennis teams. And
Nationals.
Their successful programs this year. So obviously you're going to be predisposed for that. But
you missed the State of Trailblazer Nation. What's the most important?
Well, the presentation of the KD Cup.
Oh, so staff, faculty, and students, who wins the KD Cup?
For anybody who's not aware, the KD Cup is kind of like the Lewis and Clark Stanley Cup. There are events that go on all year long on campus. You get points for participating, points for being in attendance. All those points are totaled up all at the end of the year, and either the staff, faculty, or student teams, one of those teams, will be presented the prestigious
first ever
inaugural KD Cup. So
there's another award.
Be part of the. Other than inaugural?
No. There's another award being presented.
Oh, the Pantone Award.
Pantone.
The Pantone 286. Now I guess I have to.
Or 5.
It's 6.
No, 6.
You were you won it. You don't even know the number?
It was a long time ago.
So I probably need to explain that for folks. Pantone 286 on the color chart, if you're into graphics or any of that kind of stuff, that's the blue color for Lewis and Clark. So therefore, they created the Pantone 286 award, and Cody was awarded that honor.
How was the inaugural?
The inaugural, first ever. Yes. So tell us real quickly what, and we're getting a little bit off the events, but you might as well talk about that. I mean, you're the defending champion, kind of, so.
I don't know why I won it.
I don't either, but
no.
I thought you were hoping to be able to tell me.
It's just, what, you bleed blue. Right?
You bleed. No, you don't just bleed blue.
You go above and beyond.
It's not just you bleed blue. You bleed Pantone 286
blue. Yes, you're above and beyond. You're at all kinds of events. You help everybody out. I'd say that, I guess, the person that best portrays being a trailblazer, would you say? Would that be a good description?
I know you weren't trying to break your arm, patting yourself on the back when you went through that.
I don't really like talking about it. I'm kind of like
I can tell. Yeah, I can tell. You really don't like talk. I'm surprised you didn't bring it in and show it to everybody.
No. It's hidden away someplace.
Oh, okay. So we'll see who that award goes to, and we'll have to have them on and make them a guest on our podcast and let them talk about how much they sincerely appreciate it like you do.
Yeah. I mean, we should always have those people on. I think we have a few people on right now that
could
go
be
above
in the
and beyond.
running.
Yeah, they could. I mean, if it was my choice, they could be in the running.
Oh, you get to vote on it?
I do not get to vote on it.
Okay.
It's above me.
It's above.
The higher ups.
So you know who to blame. Somebody higher than you. Okay. So that'll be all of that will be going on at the State of the Trailblazer Nation event. On that same night, on the 6th, there is an evening of jazz with the Lewis and Clark Jazz Band and in combination with the Jersey Community High School Jazz Band. So that ought to be kind of neat. That'll
a collaboration.
It is a collaboration. That'll be over in the Allmeyer Atrium. That event starts at 7 o'clock. The next night, on the 7th at 7 o'clock in the chapel, we've got the Lewis and Clark Rock Ensemble concert. A lot of music going on to end the school year with these late concerts that are going on. So, and then of course, we always at the end of the year have the pinning ceremonies. We've got the nurses one coming up on the 8th. We've got the dental assistant pinning ceremony on the 10th. And then of course, the 53rd annual commencement is on the 15th at 6 o'clock here on campus. That's always
Can I get another shout out real quick that just
Sure.
got done? So calling all student athletes out there, calling all previous student athletes out there, Alumni Alley. We'd like you to come back. It's been created in the athletic department, and we'd like you to sign the walls, your name, the years you went here, and the sport you played for. Tradition starts now.
I like it. We need to fill that wall up with pictures of folks who have been there, done that, so to speak.
I agree with you.
And Clark.
I agree.
And they just contact you?
They just can contact me or just stop by. Come on home. Come back home. Stop by the administrative suite and the athletics department is ready to assist you. It won't take more than 30 seconds, but you also can take a tour of your old stomping grounds.
How about that?
Yeah. I'm pretty excited about it.
Oh, I can
just
tell.
got finished on Sunday.
That's awesome. And if you want to know about any events going on campus, you can always just go to events.lc.edu. That'll take you to our public calendar. You can scroll through, pick a date, pick a building, pick an event. You can search it all sort of different ways, find out other things that are going on, because we just tip of the iceberg with what we pull out of the calendar and talk about. And we also want to mention if you have something for us, whether it's an idea for a guest or for a show, something we should talk about, something you don't like, we don't think there'll be any of that. But if there is, you can email us at the number 2Z podcast@lc.edu. And we hear about it too much, but even if you want to rave and rant about Cody being the star, we'll take emails on that too.
We need to know the feedback of our 1.3 million viewers.
Yes.
To this podcast.
Now you're really gonna mess with IT. The system, the networks can just crash everywhere.
That is true.
All those 1.3 million
viewers
all shoot emails at the same time.
Yep.
So maybe stagger those.
Stagger
if
them
you
out.
would for our IT department. So again, that's the number 2Z podcast@lc.edu. Hey, how about enough of our nonsense? Let's
get this show started.
Let's do it. So we'll take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Lewis and Clark Garden Club and a nice event that they have coming up as well. So we'll be right back.
We are
LC A to Z.
Yo, what up? It's Mike Keith, the proud graduate of Lewis and Clark. I got my start in the radio program that put me on the path to where I am today. We still do radio, but now we're so much more. Podcasting, producing, and editing, not to mention new equipment, studios, courses, and a new name. If you want to work in professional media or create better content for the things you love, do like I did and discover your path at Lewis and Clark Community College. Enroll today at lc.edu.
And welcome back to the A to Z Across LC podcast. Jeff Alsman here, Cody Zittman as well. And we are joined now by Katie Piper, who is a garden designer and that's a hard word for me to say, horticulturist at Lewis and Clark
She's
College.
a legend
as well.
Legend of the gardens.
And Lillian Thielemann, who is a student gardenist. And Katie, we're going to talk to you in just a second, but I've been dying to find out from Lillian, what is a student gardenist? What does that mean? What do you do? What is that?
Well, I'm here to learn. I'm here to learn, and I'm here to work with plants. And working with Katie's been amazing because she's so fluid and talented with composition, and just there's so much to gardening. There's like companion planting. There's so much to it, and just like the beauty of it all and working with living things is really stunning and staggering. So I show up and I learn and I help, and I get my fingers dirty and my feet dirty, and it's worth it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will be the first to go on record and tell each of you that I am not good in the area of. What are you laughing at?
I just think it's funny. Two podcasts in a row. We're talking
I know.
about
Yeah,
how
this,
bad you
yeah.
are on.
Yeah. This is. I am not talented in that area at all. So I will be learning as we go and hoping that there's not any living plants in here that'll die during the podcast today. So Katie, I know we've got an event coming up that you want to talk about, but tell us a little bit about the Garden Club and kind of about what you do here in your role on Lewis and Clark's campus.
Yeah, so I take care of our gardens. There's a small team of us, and luckily Lily joined us.
Oh, we Trailblazer.
That's right. And so we take care of the gardens and try to make them beautiful for everyone that steps foot on campus. And then I designed the garden show that we're going to be talking about today. So we've been working very hard behind the scenes for the past, since January or so, growing plants in our greenhouse and designing things, and just lots of desk work. And we're excited that soon we'll be able to show off our big garden design and our show.
Now, I know one of the things that just recently happened was, I don't remember the exact name of it, but I'm going to call it the tulip transfer, because everybody got to come out that wanted to bring a 5-gallon bucket, take tulips out of our garden area, and take them home and replant them. You'll be happy to know I didn't, because it would have been doing such a disservice to the tulips. But a lot of people seem to, and they enjoy that. And how does it make you guys feel when you know that there's something that was created and now somebody else is going to get some use out of it as well?
I love it. I love that so many people come out for this event. So one thing I get excited about on campus is the amount of people our gardens bring together. Students, faculty, staff, all of our team members. And so when I see people that love the gardens and love what we designed last fall to bloom this spring, to see them come out and get to take a little bit of that home and bring it to their own garden, like, it brings me so much joy.
I didn't know that you could do that. I always thought tulips came from just bulbs. You only planted the bulbs. So you wait for these to die and then you just plant those bulbs? Is that how that works?
So you can take the bulbs home. Everyone came in and they dug up the whole plant, bulb and all. And then you take it home and you can plant it right now, or else you can wait until the fall, which is the traditional bulb planting time, and plant them then. So you have two options.
Oh, okay. Because they were beautiful.
Yeah,
and I'm
absolutely.
thinking, folks are going to take these away, and what's going to happen to them? And
no, we made sure to tell everyone that came out how to take care of them and answer all the questions. So hopefully we'll have many successful gardeners.
Well, I'm sure you will. I'm sure the folks that came out, most of them probably knew what they were doing with them anyway. So
I think so. Yeah. But it's always great to see new people out there, like little kids coming with their families too. So that's always fun.
That's a hit every year. You got a lot of returners
It is.
too.
Yeah.
So Lillian, tell us a little bit about your interest in gardening and how that developed. I mean, I'm sure it's not, I wanted to get my hands and feet dirty.
Well, if you're familiar, I started working on a farm like years ago. If you know the country singer Loretta Lynn, like I worked on her daughter's farm for maybe 4 years or something. And it was just so beautiful, and getting to learn more about companion planting and just all these different species and all these different, like how to cultivate how to cultivate just all of your own food, how to live more sustainably, how to live cleaner, and then just the meditative effects of that. There's so many different benefits of gardening. And we were talking earlier, Katie and I, about the grounding effects, and how Katie had mentioned that even there's like microbes that you get through your skin that like bring more life to you, and that on average gardeners live something like 14 years longer than non-gardeners. It just brings so much peace to your body and mind. And then just also the benefits of growing your own food and knowing where that came from, knowing that there's not poison or what have you just, yeah.
Cody, it sounds like you could use some plants in your office. You need a more calming effect.
I need a lot more plants in my office.
You need a jungle over there in your
like
office.
the whole
think.
office. But I think actually in this, you should get into podcasting.
I would love to.
And the voice,
Seriously,
great.
yes.
This voice and
Beautiful.
this information that's going on, I'm figuring, can there be a gardening podcast?
Yes,
over there?
please.
Yeah.
That would be
Yes,
very cool.
please. And we have our plant sale going on this week as
We do,
well.
yes.
So tell us a little bit about that, and then tell us about the garden show.
Yeah, so we grow a lot of plants in our greenhouse for the garden show and for the College for Life Growing Knowledge Garden. And we always have some extra. And so we have a sale every year to benefit the Garden Club and also the Restoration Ecology Program, too. So that is happening. It happened last week, and then this week we'll kind of wrap it up as well.
And when you have these events, I guess they're open to the public, just
Absolutely.
to come and see some of the beautiful stuff that you guys have grown or created or planted or whatever it is, that however it started.
Yeah, we advertise it on the LC Facebook page and through a few other gardening pages that we have out there in social media. And so that's the best way for people to find out about it, is to kind of follow along on socials, and we put it out there.
So how can Cody be part of the gardening club?
Come on down.
Yeah.
Where is down? That's what we want to know. How often do you meet? When does it meet? Where does it meet? All that kind of stuff.
So we meet bi-monthly, and we meet in the greenhouse, and we don't really meet over the summer months. Unfortunately, those are the best times to be in the garden, but most students are not on campus then. And we do different activities. So we've made like floral bouquets from things that we've harvested from the gardens. We've started seeds. We do like plant propagation workshops. It's kind of whatever students are interested in talking about and learning about. That's what we cover. We did a botanical flower pounding, which is kind of a funny thing to say, but we took bandanas and different plants from the gardens and hammered them into these cotton bandanas and created these like wearable pieces. And I think that was the most fun I've had.
I agree. It was super fun because so many of these things have natural pigments. Again, it's non-toxic. Then you get to make your own creation. It was really fun, and it was creative. And I know Katie was working on growing more plants and having more plants here that would be essentially dye gardens.
Yes.
I always thought it was just plant a seed and hope for the best. These guys they're telling us about all these
There's all
different
other levels.
Yeah, it really is. All these
Indeed.
different tangents that gardening can take you off into. That's
I do have to say that every time we have a guest on or whatever, just the passions at the different levels of each one, it's what's the best about this podcast.
yeah.
Just the open doors, and I can see that right now between both of these.
So when you do the garden show, for folks who maybe haven't been here before,
Yes.
give us kind of a layout of the land, a rundown of what they do when they get here. How does it work? Any of the particulars that you can give us for that.
Well, first off, I would like to announce to the world through this podcast right now.
Well, the world, 1.3 million.
Listen up, 1.3 million. Here we go.
The theme for our garden show this year. So every year the theme changes. And so only a small group of people actually know this right now. So the theme for this year's garden show is Cultivate Your Dreams at LC.
Yeah.
So we think that really, we're asking people to cultivate your dreams at Lewis and Clark, and we do that through gardening. Other people do that through, broadcasting, and there's all different ways for students to come and live their dreams, starting at Lewis and Clark. And so that's the theme. So we start every year with a theme for the show, and then design gardens around it. So we're kind of coming up with some whimsical, dreamy, just fun, different pocket gardens, we call them, throughout campus. And so there's different gardens that we change out every year. So there's many different types of plantings. There's perennial plantings, which most of the plants that you see in the ground are right now. Those plants will come back year after year. But we do annuals as well. And so those plants only live for one season. And so we change those out. And that's based around the theme. And we, like Lily said, we are doing some botanical dye garden plants this year. We're bringing in the College for Life gardening class again. And we're going to be growing different vegetables. And anyone can come to the gardens. We'll start planting and maybe next week, but by graduation, the gardens are in the ground. And then we invite everyone to just come and tour campus whenever you want. Sometime in June, we'll have some pamphlets available with maps of the gardens. And so guests can come by and stop at the campus safety office and grab a map and take your own little guided tour. Or else you can contact myself or Ethan Brosh and set up a tour, and we give tours of the gardens. And we talk about our sculptures and the plants and the history of the college. So there's lots of different ways for people to come and explore what the gardens have to offer.
That's awesome. Sounds like a neat little day trip. Just come down and maybe bring a group of folks that you like to hang out with, and do a little stroll through the gardens and through all the different areas of the campus, and learn a lot while you're seeing a lot at the same time. So that's awesome. Cody, what do you think? You think?
I think it sounds like a lot of work.
Taking deep breaths, enjoying all the beauty.
But you know what? I think, but I don't think these two folks see it as work. It's a passion, and they just enjoy it, and not only for the joy that it brings them, but the joy that it passes on to others as well. So while it sounds like a lot of work to me, and extra work to me, because I'd always be worrying about this stuff's not going to grow. What am I going to do when folks want to come and plan and look at my garden, and they're just seeing like brown stuff?
You should come spend the day in the gardens with us. Turn those thumbs green. We'd be happy to help and offer you lots of advice. A
remote show.
There you go.
There we go.
A remote show live.
I think it's going to take more than that to turn these thumbs.
You remember those?
But
those old home improvement episodes. Tim Allen goes on the
That's before
road.
my time. Not really.
No, come on, man. That's right in the prime time.
It probably is. That's unfortunately.
We're remote. We'll go remote to the greenhouse.
Okay, you start making those plans. I'll be there.
Mike, can we do it?
We'll have to talk to all of our producers, because they're the ones that have to make all that happen.
Yeah.
So we have great aspirations.
Yes, we do.
But
We got a lot of remote shows going on.
Causes a lot of work for everybody else. So
I will say that there's a staple of our college campus that is the beauty that is our gardens and everything. And
Indeed. It's
you're
exceptional.
literally, every time you come here, whether it's a visiting athlete that I hear or a student or something, it's always how beautiful campus is. So we're literally, in the last 2 episodes, we're talking to the people that all the work goes in behind all that. So
imagine what it would look like if it didn't look like that.
Oh man,
it'd be an entirely different place, wouldn't
it? And Katie's so talented at composing like interesting colors, interesting varieties, and like there are so many variables that you're considering when you're planning these gardens. So many variables, and she puts all this thought and care into that, and we all get to reap those benefits of her labor on campus and her care. It's really, really outstanding.
Yeah.
Well,
I agree.
Yeah.
We want to thank both of you for being with us. You have really enlightened me for sure. I'm sure Cody as well. Some great ideas, some great information, and hopefully you've inspired some folks to come out and see the handiwork that you guys have put so much time into creating for the enjoyment of others. So everybody needs to come out and check out all of our gardens, and now you know who to thank for that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
We'll take another break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about the College for Life program here at LC.
We are
LC A2Z.
Yo, what up? It's Mike Keith, a proud graduate of Lewis and Clark Community College. I got my start in broadcasting, and now I work all over the country. I discovered my path in media, but I could have been a welder. Or I could have chosen business.
And welcome back to the A to Z Across LC podcast. Jeff Alsman, Cody Zipman with you. And we're going to shift gears a little bit now and talk about one of our programs here at Lewis and Clark, our College for Life program. And nobody or nobodies know more about that program than Rosie Ellington and Emily Degrand. Ladies, both of you, welcome to the A2Z podcast.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
So tell us just an overview. Rosie, we'll let you start. Tell us just an overview of what the College for Life program is. Maybe people are out there and they just don't know.
Yeah, so we wanted to just talk about disability services in general, but I am the person who oversees the College for Life program, which I'm sure everyone has seen our students walking around and doing a bunch of different stuff on campus. We offer classes for students who want to be part of a college environment. And so we have classes like sewing and performance arts and dance. And so a lot of our classes are for students to continue learning. And we have such a large range of students in our program. We have students who a lot of my students have jobs in the community already. So they work at like Pizza Hut and Red Lobster, but they just want to be part of they want to continue learning, and they want to be part of a college environment where they could join clubs and hang out. But also some of the things that we do on campus is we oversee the coffee cart in the library where we sell, it's called Coffee for Life, and we sell Bunkhouse Joe coffee, iced coffee, we sell tea, and that's been going really well, teaching students how to work a job. So we do job training, learning how to do inventory and how to do money, how to work with money and how to do community or how to speak with other people, like communication skills. And then we also have a vegetable garden right outside of Phobes. It used to be, I don't know what that area is called. What is that? Where the
it's right at that
garden.
circle, kind of. Yeah.
So we'll have one part of that dedicated to our vegetables, but a lot of it's going to be right outside of Phobes. And that's really a big part of also, I think, the what Katie Piper does every year is the garden party. So that's part of the tour, but we grow like tomatoes and zucchini, and Katie helps them learn the process of gardening. And then the students will be able to plant and then harvest and learn how to use what they grow to make healthy meals.
And then I think and I may be wrong on my time, but I'm thinking at the end of summer sometime after you gather all that up and you actually get together with different sponsors or foundation folks or something like that and kind of actually have a meal with from all the stuff that you guys have grown, right?
Yes.
We have a lot of people in the community that help support the program.
Yeah. And that's a time for us to invite them in to say thank you and then just to show the progress of the students in the garden.
So the program, and hence the name College for Life, might be for students who aren't interested in just getting an associate's degree and spending 2 years, but really advancing or honing some life skills and being interactive with some peers and having some socialization as well, and just kind of increasing an opportunity to get to be involved in things that they might not get to be in a different type of campus environment, correct?
There's no programs like ours in the area. There's a lot of programs like in St. Louis and at other community college where they take classes and then they graduate. I mean, whatever they do after they graduate, I don't know. But ours is one of the only programs that students don't actually graduate. They can keep coming and continue learning and continue being part of the college community. And so that's very unique to us. And we get, not just the College for Life program, but I oversee also a program called Supported College Transition, where it helps students transition into a college setting that might need a little bit more TLC coming into a totally new environment from high school. And so our programs are some of the most popular in the area. I feel like there's every semester we get a ton of people from all around Illinois who want to meet with us to ask, like, how do we begin a program like yours at our college?
Yeah, we have students coming from Belleville, like couple hours away just to come to College for Life, and also the Supported College Transition Program. And we do have our CFL program at the Nelson campus too. So there is about 60 students there, and then 80 students in the College for Life program here on this campus.
And a virtual program too.
Virtual. Yeah.
So how do folks find out or get enrolled in the program? What process do they use for that?
So most of the time we go to individualized education planning meetings out in the high school. So we are always telling students about the programs that we have, but they would reach out to Rosie or I to get started. We walk them through the process to apply to the school, then to fill out our request for accommodations form on our website. And that's any student that wants any kind of accommodations at Lewis and Clark's. That's the process they would go through. And then we would meet with them and set them up. And we always tell every student, like, these are the programs that we have. Like, what do you think is the best fit? We look over their IEPs and all of that to make sure that we get the whole idea of like who the student is.
I know one of the things on the calendar that's just around the corner is the College for Life formal. That sounds like a fun time. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it is at the Nelson campus, and it's only for the Nelson students, but a lot of the parents in that area wanted to put together a formal for the students to be able to enjoy when during their class time. And so it's been amazing just to see the involvement from the community coming together to wanting to plan something for the students. So that's next Tuesday on May 7th.
I had a formal invitation sitting on my desk when I got to work today.
So
like,
is
with
this
an
a-
RSVP, I was very excited about it.
Is this like a full dress, the whole 9 yards kind of formal that we're talking about?
This is the first one we've ever had.
Oh,
and so it's just one of the parents came to us and said we would really like to do a formal for the students. We think they would really enjoy it. Like, you don't have to do any of the planning. We'll plan it all. And this is like our gift to the students. So we're really looking forward to seeing our first formal, and hopefully we can do that together with both campuses at some point.
So tell us a little bit about what it's like as either, I don't want to say instructors or administrators. It's more really personal contact, no matter what your title or position is. But Emily, what's it like to be able to offer or pour part of yourself into an individual with disabilities life and see how much they enjoy that interaction and the relationship building and see the success that they're able to have many times because somebody like you was there to just give a little nudge or a little guidance?
Yeah, it's the job we have is amazing. Working with students with disabilities and helping them learn how to advocate for themselves is awesome. And I mean, I had a student earlier today, and she came in, she was so shy when she first came to Lewis and Clark, and she started in our supported college transition program. She's about to graduate. She has done absolutely amazing the whole time she is here. She joined different clubs. She has really just grown as a person too, and to be able to like help students through that process is really awesome. Yeah.
I used to several years back work for another local agency that was involved with providing services to individuals with disabilities, and the motto or the theme of that organization is many times people focus on the disability, and their goal and their mission was to try to raise awareness and get folks to focus on the ability as opposed to the disability. And so many times, if you allow yourself to do that, you will discover talents and passions in people that would often get overlooked if all you see is what you perceive that they can't do. And many times you'll be fooled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. One of my favorite quotes is like, if you need to know what you need and then be able to find it. And that's the best way to advocate for yourself, is you have to know what you need and then just go out and find it. And I think that's what we try to do, especially in the supported college transition, because a lot of those students are students that are primarily in special education, and they all of their teachers know what they need in high school, but in college, like they have to advocate for themselves more. So just helping them through that process to know how to find what they need.
So a lot of what we've been talking about sounds like we've been talking about developmental or intellectual disabilities and not necessarily physical disabilities, but you guys cover the gamut with your student population?
Yeah. Yeah, we have students with specific learning disabilities, autism, and then physical disabilities as well. Yep, any student that needs an accommodation, we're here to help them. Any process to get there.
Cody, you seem like somebody who'd be good at working with individuals with disabilities because you just have that kind of personality.
I mean, just listening to them and everything that goes in from the events to just the care and the need and the focus. How do you go about like developing the entire program? Like we talked about earlier, like we're one of the few that are like this. And I just think about, do you have a reset in the summer? Do you freshen it up? Do you do these different things behind the scenes? But from square one on, how do you go about just creating a program like yours? Because you're in all different avenues across this whole platform, it sounds like. And I just want to dig behind the scenes on all this because this is pretty impressive.
Well, we didn't start the program. Our former director, Kathy Haber, she's the one who began the program over 20 years ago. And I feel like that started with such a small group of people. And I feel like every year you find ways to add or different things you could improve. And then every year we're adding more students to it. And I feel like we've just been like kind of figuring it out as we go. Like how can we make it better? Like, for example, the virtual program, like the pandemic hit and we just didn't know if the students would be able to do College for Life virtually. But it's been successful. Like there's still students who are doing the virtual program and you kind of like got to take it as it comes, I guess.
We have a summer project list that we work
I was wondering,
on. Yes.
Because this keeps growing, and then Jeff's asking, well, you're over in this area, and then you're over in this area, and then you're virtual, and you're going. So these people come to you and they ask, okay, so how do you start that? And then you just went, well, I guess we started here in this section or here. There's no right. It's just every year, just a refresh.
It's it's also a big part of starting a program like ours is having administration who believes in what you're doing.
And I feel like, yeah, which is awesome.
That's what a lot of the schools that come to us and like want to start, they're like, okay, we have all the information because we're not greedy with the information. Like Emily and I, we believe that like all areas should have a program like ours. Like it's not a competition. It's a service that we need to provide these students. And so everyone that comes, we're like, here's all that we have. Here's a list of the classes. Here's a description. Whatever else you need, please let us know. And then when they go back to their own school, they're not the people who like make the ultimate decisions about all of these things.
Right.
And they don't. And when we've talked to other administrators who ask us questions about it, they're like, yeah, there's like other things we need to focus on first. You know, like I feel like every school has their own goal that they want to achieve. Right. And if this is not one of them, then
I feel like once again you've done it, Jeff. You've brought a program here.
I thought you were going to blame me for something.
No. You've brought another program here, and I'm going to say this for, I think, probably the fourth time since we did. We're leading the way. Is that what I'm hearing in this? So, once again, we have a program that's leading the way.
It's nothing I'm doing. We just have programs that are leading the way. So, that's what that boils down to. That's a feather in Lewis and Clark's cap. Yeah, so, certainly not mine. But that's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks for being here. Continued success with the program. It's something that can often be overlooked and maybe not as given as high a priority as it might need to be. And hopefully that will continue to change all across the education lines and just society in general for that matter. But you guys are certainly shining lights that are pointing people in that direction, and that's a very admirable thing. So thanks so much for what you do, and thanks for being on the program.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you both.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll take another break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Mental Health Month. We'll be right back.
We are
LC A2Z.
Yo, what up? It's Mike Keith, the proud graduate of Lewis and Clark Community College. I got my start in broadcasting and now I work all over the country. I discovered my path in media, but dental hygiene could have been my thing. Or my path could have been conservation.
And welcome back once again to the A to Z Across LC podcast. Jeff Alsman here, Cody Zittman as well. We are joined now by Megan Tyler, who is the founder and executive director of Sacred Spaces of Care. And Cody, we're going to talk a little bit about Mental Health Month, which is coming up here in May, and give Megan a chance to talk about the organization here in the community that she has developed from the ground up. Megan, welcome to the program. Tell us a little bit about the organization Sacred Spaces of Care.
Sure. So Sacred Spaces of Care officially launched, we incorporated it in February of 2023. So just celebrated our 1-year anniversary just a bit ago. And we've done a lot within the first year. It was founded basically because we were looking for gaps in the community when it came to mental health, substance use, our unhoused population. My entire background is in the field of education in high trauma settings, but I've always been highly involved in mental health and have a lot of friends and people that I've worked with in the world of recovery as well. And what we noticed when we were in those processes is walking alongside individuals while they're on that journey can be really difficult. Our systems can be hard to navigate. And as people are trying to get help or receive help, sometimes it's nice to have someone along for the ride, just kind of there walking them through it, being able to help navigate those spaces. And so that's essentially why I founded Sacred Spaces of Care. And we've been going pretty strong since about a year ago. So
how does one start something like that from the ground up? I would think there would be funding challenges, support of all kinds challenges. Where are you going to be located? What area are you going to represent? When you talk about services provided in the mental health field, there's a whole gamut of things that can touch. Yeah. How do you bring all that together and organize it into one, I'm assuming, nonprofit organization?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that we tried to be pretty specific with our mission, but then also at the same time, the need should really be driving where we're going. And so we just kind of gave a good look at the community. I mean, obviously it was my vision that had been a long time coming, which kind of ebbed and flowed, and different people kind of spoke into that, different people in the community that I was engaging, individuals and families that I was already kind of personally walking alongside the process with. I have a school psychologist, some therapists, that are now on my board of directors. And so initially, I had this vision. I basically had, I think, what I called a launch meeting where I invited several people to possibly consider joining the board of directors, kind of gave that pitch to them on what I really envisioned for this organization. And luckily, many of them jumped in, which I am incredibly grateful for, because getting behind something that you don't even know what it looks like yet is a huge thing. So we formed the board of directors, and then just some organic relationships started to form that kind of led us down a path that even kind of unexpected in some ways. One of the first people that I reached out to was Chief Jarrett Ford of the Alton Police Department. And that was basically for an awareness to say, hey, here's who I am. Here's what we're wanting to do in the community with supporting people. And we want the police department, of course, to be aware that we exist and that we're here to support. And when we had our initial meeting, we just really hit it off as far as our goals. He had just taken over as chief a few months before that, very mental health minded, very community minded, and just wanted something like this. Once we began to talk, it just made sense for him, especially with the individuals they were routinely engaging and the lack of follow-up support of really helping those individuals to be connected to resources. And so that just opened the door for that partnership, which is kind of our prioritized partnership right now. We just started looking at funding. I had never written a grant in my life, but with some support and encouragement, went after it. received that very first grant, which is federal dollars through the state of Illinois IDHS, which is a suicide prevention law enforcement grant or first responder grant. And then it's just kind of snowballed. I mean, I've been eat, sleep, and breathing this organization for a while now, multiple grant proposals, multiple funding opportunities, trying to make connections, build community partners. I'm very collaborative in nature, so trying not to reinvent the wheel or duplicate services or resources that already exist, but find those gaps and figure out how we can fill in. So.
And Cody, I'm thinking, some of the things that we've been discussing are how to help folks who might already be in dark places. But I'm thinking of, as the athletic director here at the campus, how this might affect student athletes, just mental health overall, and how you can, strive to keep folks from reaching into those areas of dark places. I'm sure that's something that your coaches talk about a lot. It's not only about the physical ability, but staying mentally sharp, mentally healthy. So this mental health is something that it impacts everybody.
I mean, it's so different than you could just say when I was a student athlete. Okay, we didn't have any of that. You were what, soft, or we didn't talk about. You weren't talking about it, but now it's like forefront. So you're constantly, how are you doing? Are you being overwhelmed, or how can we help? I mean, look at this week. I mean, it's Wellness Week, and it's all surrounded about, hey, let's be in these areas that we can put you on a better platform just for success to finish out. To get through. So, I mean, it's just so different in what? I mean, that's the last decade, the last 20 years just changed.
It seems like it.
Yeah,
maybe
I think
a little
so.
longer,
I mean, I think the stigma has been reduced definitely, here in recent years. I think this might be a positive that came out of COVID is everybody struggled. There was a lot of isolation, and I'm not sure if that maybe was a catalyst, but back to your athletes, I mean, the advantage that they have is it's not just the mental, alertness and things, but there's such a correlation between mental health and your physical health and just movement and, what your body releases when you're physically active and things like that. It's interesting because with, we do internal officer wellness with the APD as well, and we have a very comprehensive approach to that focuses on physical fitness, nutrition, sleep habits, as well as all of the more like therapeutic options. And so it really does. The physical part of it makes a huge difference on your mental health as well.
So I have to ask you just your 1 year anniversary, right?
Yes.
So can you talk about you're starting this business or this organization, the highs and the lows, as you get through that 1 year to keep it going.
I mean, it's been a lot of highs, I'll be honest. The lows are probably the fact that I have to slow down and take care of my own mental health and my own anxiety. I think the lows is just, at the end of the day, we still can be doing everything that we possibly can to connect people, but there are barriers that exist in our community, barriers to care, and we can be there and be as passionate and as compassionate as ever about getting people help, but we still continue to run into barriers. And I always say, it can be easy to feel defeated, but at the same time, I always just say, we can't eliminate the barriers, but we can do everything we can to reduce them at least. So the lows are usually related to we're running into walls as far as what resources are available, or we've tried almost everything and we're still struggling. And then the other lows, they're not really lows. There's just definitely times of more anxiousness and nervousness. The very first year we had to go through an audit review. We're doing an external audit now. All of the business related regulations and stuff that come along with that. But luckily I do have a very, very strong social worker who's managed many grants before, incredibly fiscal minded, that keeps me on my toes. And that's been a huge relief for my own mental health because I have those assurances, and my board of directors is great as well. So that's good. But
did you enjoy the grant piece of it?
I like it. I mean, I don't mind. I'm not a money person, so I love having fiscal minded people that I surround myself with. I know my own limitations. I love narrative writing, so I can crank out, narrative proposals and stuff all day long as far as the writing aspect of it. And I'm a developer by nature and the project building side of it. The money, not my favorite, but I have people for that, luckily, that I can surround myself with.
But you can't disregard it though.
No,
you can't. You gotta.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's kind of where we're at now too. We're growing some other potential funding sources just to kind of grow capacity. I mean, if I want help, the thing about this line of work the space that we're operating in is it's very people resource. We can't just hand out books that are helping people to get better, or it's really walking alongside individuals, which take people and time and energy. And so if I want to grow the capacity and have help doing that, then I have to have money to pay people. So, and so that's something that we're working on over the course of this next year as well, is just more private funding and corporate donations. Hopefully the board's working on that. We have been almost purely grant funded over the course of this first year, and will be as well for the foreseeable future with some multiple funding sources that we've acquired.
So are people referred to you? Do they come on their own? Do you find people that sometimes give you resistance? You can say, I have a way of getting you off of the street and into shelter, and they say, I don't see anything wrong with where I am. I'm okay.
Right.
And maybe they are, and maybe they're not.
Yeah.
But do you run into that at all?
Yeah. So we have a lot of individuals that refer people to us. I mean, obviously, I'm engaging the majority of individuals through the police department. So most of our unhoused neighbors in Alton now, I pretty much already have a relationship with and know them by name and sit down with them and see them on a regular basis. Anybody in the community can also contact us and just say that they want support, and we'll provide that as well. As far as, working with our homeless population, it just varies. I think most people would be surprised at that diversification within that community. There's a lot of just different needs. The needs are often very complex. Many differing needs. So we work on everything from when we do a needs assessment, it is, first of all, it's all voluntary. And I'm very upfront about, this is your journey that you're on in your process. So what goals do you have for yourself, and how can we work towards those? And then we talk about everything from medical to, primary care doctors. Are you on medications? Do you have money to pay for those medications? Do you have mental health needs? Do you have substance use needs? To housing, to basic things like, do you have identification, a social security card? Do you need transportation? Are you interested in employment, food, all of those types of things. So it's a really comprehensive needs assessment. And then we start kind of determining what are some of the, priority goals, what things can we get you in the immediate right now, and what are your long-term goals. And there are some differences. There are some individuals that are unhoused that just have significant barriers. Whether it is past criminal convictions sometimes, or things that are preventing them from receiving housing, but the majority or many also just don't have adequate housing. We just have, everybody goes through the Madison County referral line, and we only have so many housing options, and we just don't have enough for the amount of unhoused that we actually have. And so, we continue to try to reduce those barriers and work through it. But we have to look at other avenues sometimes. How
important is it to make that contact with an individual before they've reached the point of, we'll call it the point of no return, where they really feel like they are just overwhelmed, and I'm never going to get out of this. It's never going to turn around for me, no matter what happens. I'm useless. I'm helpless. I'm stuck for life like this. If you get to folks early enough before they hit that spot, is there a way to protect them or prevent them from getting to that area? Seems like that'd be so much easier than trying to pull somebody up from what they feel like is the very bottom.
Yeah, I mean, it really just depends. I mean, obviously, early intervention is always key. The earlier you can start to see signs and symptoms. And so there's different methods of doing that. I'm a certified mental health first aid instructor. And if you're not familiar with that entire curriculum is based on how do you recognize those early signs and symptoms, so that, individuals, when they first start to struggle, you can try to intervene and equip them with some strategies and things immediately and help them to seek the professional help that they need. But even when they, are further along or in kind of a darker place, or maybe they've encountered a lot of crisis or a lot of trauma, it's still just as important to come alongside in that moment, because you have no idea if you might just be the one glimpse of hope that they need in that moment. And I'm a huge advocate of lived experience and peer support when you can have someone speak to someone who has literally walked in their shoes. So I still have barriers, and I'm very upfront with everybody that I engage. They know that they love me, they trust me. Most of our unhoused friends are used to me being around, but I'm extremely vulnerable and I'm extremely transparent. I have learned that they so appreciate authenticity and just being real. And so a lot of times I'll say to them, look, I haven't lived on the street, but let me introduce you to my friend that has, because I'm still as compassionate as I can be. And as much as I want to help them, I have not lived on the street. I have not used many of the substances that they've used before. And so I can't ever fully, walk in their shoes and relate. But I partner with a lot of different people who have lived experience, who have been substance users, who have been incarcerated, who are out now and who are living a life in recovery. And so I can help connect that individual to them so that they have someone they can speak with that has walked their shoes.
So before we let you go, it is Mental Health Month that we're talking about, and it's certainly all about raising awareness, which certainly needs to happen because for far too long, nobody talked about this, or it was like the thing that was, if you talked about it, it was off in the corner somewhere where nobody really could hear you. This is your chance to, number one, be advocate for the person who might be facing something that you like what you've talked about. And then also be the advocate for your organization. So take both sides. Tell people if you had a chance right now, what would you say to the person who might be out there who's questioning where they are in their mental health experience? And then tell us also what's the most important need that your organization has going forward for this next year.
Okay. If you are out there and you're struggling, I would just say, do not be afraid to ask for help. Vulnerability, in my opinion, is one of the truest signs of courage. So we have a mixed message in our society that, when we don't talk about it, that, we've got to be the strong, tough person that holds it all in. But it's really reverse of that. Like the most respect that I could have for a person is based on their willingness to just be themselves authentically and have the courage and be vulnerable to just share. The other thing I would say in asking for help is just realizing that someone has walked your shoes. You might feel that no one can understand or that you are so much worse off, but there has been somebody in that position. And don't compare yourself to those around. Just understand that, you'll get there and realize that it's a different path for everybody. So, be willing to ask different people for support or try different things to see what works for you, because we definitely advocate that there's multiple pathways, what works for one. The thing about trauma and when you go through experiences is that we could have the same event happen in this room right now with all of us sitting here, but we all walk away with different experiences. And because of that, our effects are different, which means our healing process can also be different. So just if you've tried something before, I think that's huge as well. A lot of people are naysayers because they're like, oh, I went to a therapist and didn't work, or I tried this and it didn't work, or, I tried this medicine, whatever it might be, don't just give up based on that experience. I always say, keep trying different things. You're not going to click with every single therapist, or every medication might not be right, or whatever, you're pursuing. So just don't give up and continue trying, and realize that there are people out there that are willing to listen non-judgmentally and just be there with you along the process. For the organization, I just think that there is such a significant need. If you don't see that in the community, then I'm not sure where you're hanging out, because you can just see that the society and especially, every generation really, there's people struggling for whatever reason, whether it's mental health or trauma that's been unprocessed, or, people that are unhoused in our community, or whatever that might look like. And so, anybody that is willing to just come alongside us. And I think the biggest thing is, a lot of people are compassionate and they want to help, but they don't feel like they're equipped to help others. And so I feel like this is an opportunity where we are equipped. So if you want to do good and you want to feel that you're contributing and helping people when they're in struggle, then let us do it for you, or let us come alongside you and help you. So we can provide some opportunities where you could volunteer if you wanted to. But also, even if you don't have the time or you're not, wanting to be equipped, obviously, as with everything, financial support is always most appreciated. We have a lot of people that reach out and say, like, I want to be doing something, but a lot of people don't know how to engage people in crisis. And so those of us who are equipped, we're there and we're ready to do it, but we also just need the support to be able to do so. So I think that's what I would say as far as our biggest need at the moment.
Well, I guess that all of us should stop long enough to think about and be grateful for how blessed we are to maybe not be in a situation like that. We have no idea what tomorrow will bring into any of our lives, and we could be on the receiving end of something chaotic and traumatic, and we could find, any of us could find ourselves in a state that we're certainly not accustomed to or want to be in, and we might be one of the seekers at some point down the road. You just never know. So it's certainly good to know that there are resources out there that are available in the event anybody should run into that type of a situation.
Yeah, and I should probably point out, I didn't think of this until now, that we don't charge for services either. So that's a big part of what we do, is we don't want that to be a barrier to anybody receiving help. And so, we don't charge, and we do a lot of community events. We partner with Hainer Library and do some trauma and substance use conversations and things. I went into the health department last week. So we're doing more than just our engagement with the police department, really just mostly focused on educating and advocating for those in the community. So,
well, we want to certainly thank you for being here with us on the podcast and sharing what you are doing and letting people know what's out there, what is available. Hopefully, folks will get rid of that stigma, and if they need to take advantage of any of these services, hopefully they will seek you out and do that. We want to just thank you for taking a few moments today to get the word out and continued success with the still new organization.
Yes. Yep.
And wish you all the best moving forward with it.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Megan.
being here.
Cody, I guess that's going to do it for this edition of our A2Z Across LC podcast. Unless you have any parting words.
Texas bound.
That's right. You want to explain that? Because we said at the beginning we'd let you explain that. So tell us.
Men and women's tennis teams heading to Texas. Women first on Thursday, and then on the 11th, the men. So down to Texas, back, 2-day break, down to Texas again.
So for our next podcast, we haven't worked out all the details yet, but it's possible Cody might be with us virtually with the tennis team from Texas. We'll have to check with all of our producers, who are probably rolling their eyes right now and slapping their foreheads and saying, what are these guys doing to us
Lennon's
now?
is giving me the thumbs up.
Okay.
It's because he and O's going with me.
Oh, is that why? Yeah.
They don't know it yet.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, Megan, you didn't have to sit through all that, but thanks for doing it. Thanks for being here again.
Yep.
Cody, take us out.
We are
LC A to Z.